See, that lady, she always talks. All right. Now, give me a second, and everybody who comes to my group knows that it takes me a second to pull it up on my phone, since I'm not allowed to have it going at the same time here. Just 2 seconds. We are live, folks. All right. Now, welcome, nonprofit leaders. And if you're here today, please let us know you're here. You just have to say I'm here so that we know. I'm Nancy Manning, founder of Power Your Mission and Austin Nonprofit Meetup. Today, our guest will be providing a PowerPoint presentation, so make sure to click on the video to expand your screen, or you may have an icon in the lower right-hand corner that allows you to do that. Today, our guests are Erica Braverman and Jessica McKay from Nobility. And since our topic is accessibility, we also have Whitney from Texas Captions behind the scenes that will hopefully provide captions today. Now, Erica and Jessica have a lot to cover, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them. And there you go.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for having us here today. I'm Jessica McKay. I am the Community Programs Manager at Nobility. You'll be meeting with Erica in just a few moments. She is one of our community engagement specialists. And we just want to talk very briefly a little bit about what Nobility is before we move on to our topic. So Nobility is a nonprofit based in Austin, Texas. We've been around since 1999 with the specific mission of creating a more inclusive digital world for people with disabilities. So really looking at those digital spaces and making sure everybody can authentically participate and engage. And we do that in two ways, our commercial services and our community programs. And I'm just going to touch very, very briefly on these with the hopes that you'll check out our website later. So our commercial services include talking with our accessibility services team. This includes our auditing services for websites. So looking at it from a code level, checking to make sure you're meeting all those accessibility guidelines, providing consultation services in terms of how to make those adjustments as needed, as well as accessibility trainings from pre-design to custom trainings fit to meet the needs of your companies and organizations. We also provide webinars throughout the year, as well as our accessibility courses that are available through our Learning Center. Our second branch to provide our mission is through our community programs. Our first one is AIR. That's what started it all. This is our Accessibility Internet Rally. It is a web design competition pitting web teams against each other, working to help create the most beautiful, inspiring, accessible websites for nonprofits. We also have our Access You conference. This is a 3-day digital accessibility conference from people around the world gather and talk about web accessibility. We also look at accessibility in the K-12 education space. We do that a couple different ways through our K-12 modules, our webinars, as well as our summer conference coming up soon. And then lastly, we have Access Works, which actually Erica heads up, and that is our usability testing program. So companies contact us and we're able to pair them with paid testers with disabilities to make sure that those sites, those products meet the needs of their potential consumers. Our next slide will have some information, and of course, we're always happy to have you visit the website or give us a call, visit our Twitter, or you can email myself at jmckay@nobility or Erica B@nobility, and we can give you more information as well. So before we get started, we wanted to give you some other deeper dives and places that you can go for more info. And the first one is a blog from Anthony Vasquez, who's one of our communication specialists, and it's great talking about how to provide web accessibility for nonprofits. And then Sharon Rush has a 4-part series, again, looking at how nonprofits can make their spaces more accessible. And why is that important? Why is that something you as a nonprofit need to look at, especially if you're a nonprofit that's looking at your diversity and equity and inclusion? really having accessibility does two different things for you. One is it tells people with disabilities that you are a welcoming space, that you value their time, what they want to share, that you want them to be able to engage in an authentic experience and be able to participate fully. The second thing designing with accessibility does is make sure that you can actually do that and do it quickly. So that's faster onboarding for new board members, volunteers, donors. They'll be able to interact with you quickly. You won't have to worry about retrofitting, having to fix things, getting frustrated, and taking that accessibility in your web spaces will always translate those skills into your physical spaces and into your events. So with that, Erica is going to talk to us just about one little facet of accessibility that you can put in your tool belt. So take it away, Erica.
All right, thank you, Jay. And I do want to mention really quickly, we have the live captions seem to be overriding Whitney today, unfortunately. So you're getting the AI, you can turn that on and off as you wish, but just a quick note in case it's looking a little different on your end. But I'm very excited to be here today and talk to you about something you can do today with no code to make your website more accessible. And that is to take a look at the links on your website and make sure that they're using descriptive text, which we'll get into what that is. Actually, right now, we're going to start talking about what do we mean when we say descriptive text. And the key with descriptive text is, does this link tell you where it's going to take you? Give you an idea of what you're going to find when you get to that destination. So I have some examples here of links that really tell you where you're going, like visit our registration page, or what you're going to find there, which like, why is my check engine light on? It's always a good question to ask. You're going to find resources about why your check engine light is on. And then we're going to talk about why descriptive links are so important. How do links that are descriptive or not descriptive impact users who have different types of disabilities? And we're going to start out by talking about a piece of technology that users might be using to visit your website. And that is a screen reader. What is a screen reader? A screen reader is a tool that converts written text on your website, so headings and paragraphs and things like that, to either audio, as if you were reading a book out loud, or a braille display. And I have some images here. The guy on the left is my coworker, Anthony. He's a screen reader user, and he's got his earbuds in to listen to the audio output. And then we have a braille display, which demonstrates or shows the text through raising and lowering dots on a braille keyboard. Most people who use a screen reader are blind, but sometimes people will use a screen reader if they prefer to have content read out to them. Folks with different types of learning disabilities, or people who just want to listen to the content versus reading it. And why are we talking about screen readers? Is we're going to talk about what screen readers do with links. So a screen reader, nice little trick they do is to pull out all the links on the page and put them in a neat little list. Why does it do that? How many times have we gone to a website that we are familiar with, we know it, we just know we need to get to one link, and we skim through the page to get to that link and click it? That's what this link list does. It sort of automatically skims the page. And so it will pull up a little window with a list like on this page, and you can just scroll up and down to get to the link that you want. And you can see the links in here: skip navigation, sidebar, home, etc. Now, what happens when these links are not descriptive? And I've got an example here from a whale watching tour. I have 4 links on this page. One of them is descriptive and 3 of them are not. And I'm not going to give them away, which one is descriptive and which one's not, but I want us to be thinking about, okay, so if I had all these links in a list, how would it look and how would that tell people where they were going? So I did make the link list. over here. And you can see that we've got the 4 links: our boats, read more, Google Maps URL, and then click here. And if you were trying to plan a whale watching trip, our boats would make sense. But then these other links really don't tell you where you're going to go or what's going to happen when you get there. So if you, if you're using a link list to navigate, you only really have one link on this page that gives you any information. So it would be much more helpful if this whale watching company had gone into their web page creation tool and just rewritten the link text to be descriptive. And I think there we go. We're back here. Minor technical difficulties. So if I was the whale watching company, here's an example of how I could rewrite these links. Our boats is fine, but just tell people where they're going or what they're going to find there. So instead of read more about what? Read more about wildlife that you're going to see on this whale watching tour. So no code necessary. You can do this in WordPress. You can do this however you wish, but it makes your website much more accessible. Other types of users also benefit from descriptive links. Speech input users, so folks who, instead of using a keyboard, are verbally giving commands to the computer saying, hey, click this or click that, kind of like using an Alexa. If you have multiple links that have exactly the same text, so I have more and more, if I say click more, then that's the computer can't tell which more I mean. People with different types of learning disabilities or cognitive disabilities, if they've read a long paragraph and then it says read more, if they need some help contextualizing what that more refers to from the paragraph they just read, people with dyslexia or people who have difficulty processing written content, having a clue really helps. And then folks who have low vision and might magnify the screen, it can help them to see what the link refers to. And I have an example here. So here's an example of a magnified screen. I don't remember which level of magnification I have turned on here. And the graininess is real depending on your computer that you're using. It will show like this. So this is accurate, but you can see it's just says more. And I would have to scroll all the way up to the top to get an idea of what the paragraph is, rather than just scrolling over to the side to read the longer link. So having a descriptive link can really support users who have low vision and are magnifying the screen as well. So let's see, what can we do to fix those links? And here are repaired links. So I can still say more, that's fine, that's okay. But I just need to say what this is more of. And I can, here I've said more about how the orcas look and more about orca pods. So even if I was very up close with the magnification, I would just have to scroll over a little bit to the right, and I wouldn't have to go all the way back up to the paragraph. Or if I was speaking the instructions, I could say, hey, click more about orca pods, and then the computer would have the right destination in mind. There is one little thing, and we do have time. I was going kind of quickly so it wouldn't run over. There is a way to add code to your links, to add hidden descriptive texts, but is not, it requires code. So if you're not a coder, that might be more headache than you prefer to deal with. But then this is really the best solution, because it touches on people who are also looking at the text and might not pick up on that hidden code. So if someone starts talking to you, I'm going to use this word here, aria, and says that's necessary to make descriptive links, don't worry about that word. Aria can stay with opera. Make your links descriptive, and you're going to find that that is very welcoming to all your users on your website. And it looks like we are heading back over to Nancy. Nancy, I have a question. Will folks be able to have a copy of these slides in case they want to reference an example of the links?
Well, they can ask me for them because you sent them to me.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I did send them to you.
So what I can do is when we're done, I'll put it in the comments that if they want the slides, to email me and I'll send them.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Nancy. And you got for the folks attending, you've got our contact information as well. If you wish to email Jay or I, we're also happy to talk to you about links. Probably more than you want to talk about links, but you know.
And can you stop your share?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So yes, I always like to try to be very mindful of people's time. Nonprofit leaders are so busy. So, and I know you guys could have gone on and on, probably. That was real interesting to me. I never really thought of that. Read more before, you know, so I thought that was really helpful. I would like to invite our listeners to join us this Thursday for our monthly meetup, Communications and Partnership Development through a DEI lens. I'm honored to have some very illustrious speakers for this meetup who've agreed to share their expertise, experiences, and challenges while striving for more diversity and equity in the nonprofit space. So thank you to Erica and Jessica and Anthony, who popped in later, and Miss Whitney. I don't even know how it worked because I couldn't even tell on my phone. There's only so much you can see on your phone, so I don't know what happened. We'll have to look at the recording later. So thank you all. We're going to say goodbye, and we'll see you all Thursday.
Bye. Thank you so much, Nancy.
You bet. Bye-bye.